Welcome to BaseballGuys.com. I'm your host, Ray Flowers. Figured you'd all kind of got tired of my writing the last couple days, so I decided to show you my beautiful mug here on Around the Horn at BaseballGuys.com instead. Steven Strasburg will be up in less than a week's time. Lots of excitement all over the world of baseball as he'll be up throwing that high 90s heat for the Nationals. The Reds have their own phenom in the minors, and that's Aroldis Chapman, a lefty Cuban defector who can also approach triple digits on the radar gun. Now, Chapman's had some struggles in the minor leagues. He hasn't necessarily always been able to locate his pitches, walked a lot of batters. And so the Reds are going to take it slow with him and allow him some more time in the minors. Now, Walt Jocketty was interviewed recently, and he was asked, would you guys bring up Chapman and put him in the bullpen? He didn't say a definitive no to that question, but he basically said he didn't think it was in the best interest of Chapman to have him come up as a relief pitcher, a move that's often made by clubs with their young hurlers, trying to get him kind of indoctrinated to the major league level. So it looks like the Reds are going to leave Chapman in the starting role. They're going to allow him to continue to work through the control issues he's had. So don't expect to see Chapman at any point soon for the Reds unless an injury strikes that rotation. Josh Beckett is a hurler who is out with an injury for the Red Sox. Now, the situation with him isn't thought to be major. He has a back issue. They thought they'd send him down for a couple weeks, get him a chance to work on some things on the side because he hasn't been performing that well on the hill, and he'd be back. Well, bad news for Red Sox and for Beckett owners. Apparently that back issue is enough of a concern that he's not able to repeat his delivery consistently on the side. Because of that, the Red Sox said, look, we're going to give him 10 days off. He's not going to do anything for 10 days. We're going to let the back calm down before we ramp him back up again. What does this mean? Obviously, this means he's not coming off the disabled list at any point, into the best case scenario, until at least mid-June. We're probably looking at that last week of June before we see Beckett back out on the hill. Going to have to remain patient. It's not supposed to be an issue that will linger long-term. Though with each minor setback here, the condition does get a little bit more serious for Josh Beckett and the Red Sox. Jose Contreras, he's had problems in the ninth inning at the end of games of late, actually, and that's not good news for him, considering that Brad Lidge is back with the Phillies. Now, Contreras blew a game today, was actually in the 8th inning, but he blew the game. The Phillies all along have said, look, we're going to kind of ease Brad Lidge back into that closer's role. But with Contreras all of a sudden struggling a bit, and this bad outing today, they might get even more antsy and try to move Brad Lidge back into that closer role. Don't forget that a couple years ago, Lidge went 48 for 48 in saves for the Phillies on their way to the championship. Charlie Manuel loved the guy, ran him out there pretty much all season last year, despite the fact he was one of the worst relief pitchers in all of baseball last year. He still had 30-plus saves despite an ERA in the 7s and that whip of almost 2. Look for Brad Lidge to start getting some save chances pretty soon, unless Contreras snaps back and continues to show that dominating form that he showed earlier in the season. Jorge Posada, out with the foot injury. He said he'd be back in a couple of weeks from that broken bone. Everyone kind of laughed at him. Well, we're a couple of weeks later, and guess what? Jorge Posada is back and active with the Yankees. Now, it's highly doubtful he'll be able to catch at any time in the near future. Francisco Cervelli will continue to work behind the dish for the Yankees. They're going to use Posada apparently at the DH. That kind of messes up the rotation they have a little bit. They've obviously let go of Randy Wynn. Marcus Tim's going to have a little bit of tough time getting some playing time. Posada continues to fill that DH role. As Posada nears his 40th birthday, he's going to have to fill that role more anyway. His body's just not going to be capable of continuing to catch. Looks like that transition might occur right now, but good news if you're a Posada owner, he should be back in the lineup and play pretty much every day, even if he's not behind the dish. Cristian Guzman, that's a name that, hey, we all kind of forget about, you all kind of look past, we all kind of dismiss. But Cristian Guzman, second in the National League in batting average. I know it doesn't make any sense, but basically since he's become a Nationals player, he's been a 300 hitter. You look at the numbers, they don't make a lot of sense. His line drive rate isn't as high as one would expect this year, given his batting average and balls in play mark, which would be a career best. It's in almost 380. However, the last 3 seasons with the Nationals, that batting average on balls in play mark has been 322 or higher. So Guzman somehow is continuing to ramp out hits at a near record pace for that Nationals ball club. He doesn't have the speed he once did. He brings no power whatsoever, but he's been moved around. He's played some outfield, etc. He could be a very useful spare part, especially in NL leagues. And with the way he's hitting right now, you've got to consider playing him in mixed leagues as well. Jason Bartlett, shortstop with the Rays, continues to have some issues with that hamstring. It looks like he might actually be forced to go on the disabled list. He's having problems with some lateral movement. The Rays would obviously turn to Reid Brignac if that was the case. Brignac was a second-round draft pick in 2004. He's hitting over 300 on the season this year. Not a bad fallback option, but doesn't offer enough to be anything more than an AL-only option. And then finally, Mike Gonzalez continues to show improvement with his shoulder. He threw 25 to 30 pitches on Wednesday. On Saturday, he'll throw another 40 pitches and continue to ramp up his workload. He's hopeful of a return by mid-June. And again, like I said all along here at BaseballGuys.com, I wouldn't be surprised if by the end of June, Mike Gonzalez was pitching the 9th inning once again for the Baltimore Orioles. I'm Ray Flowers, BaseballGuys.com. Thanks for joining me on Around the Horn. Don't forget to visit me at twitter.com/BaseballGuys. I'll talk to y'all again soon.